Welcome into the program. This is Breaking the Huddle. I am Joel Klatt. This show is brought to you by Dr. Pepper. It is the one fans deserve. We've got a lot to get into today. We're going to have my top 10, some sleeper teams, my Heisman picks in the middle of the year. I've got JJ McCarthy live on the program, and then we'll finish things off with a little Klattback. So lots to get into. Let's get into it right away. Let's start with my top 10 teams in the country, how I see them right now through the halfway point of the year. UNC making an appearance down there at 10. USC struggling a little bit. They've fallen down to number 9. Can't wait for this matchup this weekend. Washington and Oregon. Ohio State's at 6. I've got Georgia back up at number 1 after they were dominant last week at home against Kentucky. Michigan sitting there at 2. And then Florida State, OU, heck of a win over Texas, and Penn State sitting there at 5. Now, the reason I went through all of that very quickly is because as we get into the back half of the season, I've got 4 sleeper teams that we just have to be aware of. Because remember, last year we saw a team, quite frankly, come out of nowhere in TCU, and they were able to make a push and make the playoffs. So who are this year's TCUs? One of them may be obvious, but the other 3, not so much. Let's start with Louisville. Louisville, after that win over Notre Dame, was in a position now where they're one of the 3 undefeateds in the ACC. They've got a really good new head coach in Jeff Brom, just like Sonny Dykes last year for TCU, by the way. They got a veteran quarterback that can run the ball, and they're finding their stride. And don't discount the element of momentum in all of this. When you get a team that's playing that hard and that well for a new head coach, and in particular in an environment like they had last week against Notre Dame, this is a team with the schedule in front of them that could make a little bit of a run. All right, who's another team that could be a sleeper pick this year for the college football playoff? How about North Carolina? Couple of ACC teams, also undefeated. And in North Carolina's sense, they've got a great quarterback. If you have that guy, why can't you go make a run? And they certainly can. And when you look at their schedule, they do have to go to Clemson. They've got Miami this week in a big game. If they get past Miami, there's a really good shot that North Carolina could make a strong push towards the ACC championship game and then ultimately potentially the college football playoff. Mac Brown has done an outstanding job at North Carolina. And just remember, he's got one of the best players in the entire sport in Drake Maye as his quarterback. So watch out for North Carolina. This third one is obvious, but they're not in the top 10. And the way they played early in the season in a loss and then in a win the next week made us question whether they were a playoff contender this year. But rest assured, the Alabama Crimson Tide are still a playoff contender. This is a team that is just going to get better. Remember, their head coach, Nick Saban, he's going to win in whatever philosophy or style he can. He's won across multiple different assistant coaching staffs. He's won across multiple different recruiting cycles with multiple different styles and philosophies. So to think that he's just going to go quietly into the night this year would be sorely mistaken. So we've written off Alabama to a large extent here early in the season, but not so fast. This is a team that can still get hot. Their toughest game clearly going to be at home against LSU, a team they might have to go outscore, which could be dangerous. And then the last one, and this is the one nobody is talking about. UCLA. Watch out for the Bruins. Okay, so UCLA lost to Utah, but then they come back and play dominant football against Washington State. They've got a young quarterback in Dante Moore that I really like. He's going to make some mistakes, and there will be some growing pains, which they've already suffered through. Remember, he threw the pick 6 against Utah. He threw another pick 6 against Washington State. But as they get better, you've got to recognize they've got one of the best defenses in the entire country. In fact, when you're looking at yards per play, they are the best defense in the entire country. The Bruins are legit, and as their quarterback gets better, then you have to look at their schedule. And the fact is that they've got a tough matchup this week against Oregon State on the road in Corvallis. If they win that game, they've got the most manageable back half of the season in the entire Pac-12. One of their last tough games would be USC, and USC would be playing their 9th straight consecutive game against a Power 5 opponent, no buys in that game. Watch out for UCLA. I'm just saying, Chip Kelly has done a marvelous job. He did a great job last year, and now even with a young quarterback, good run game, and a really good defense, the Bruins could be in line for that sleeper playoff spot come November and December. So there's some sleepers. Hey, when we come back, I got to talk about my Heisman Trophy list. What is it? Halfway through the season, I've got 6 names. Who are my 6 guys? You find out next. All right, welcome back into the program here. Let's talk about Heisman contenders. I've got 6 of them right now through the halfway point in the season. A couple of guys didn't make the list. Give them a quick shout out. Shedeur Sanders, Jaden Daniels, both guys playing excellent football, but the fact remains is like it's also kind of a team award. I know that might not be fair, but up to this point, they're not going to be on this list of 6. So let's go 6 to 1 and let's reveal them. I've got Jordan Travis at number 6 from Florida State. Here's what I love about Jordan Travis's game is that he's very smart, obviously experienced player. He can hurt you with his legs, yes, but the best part about his game is that he understands when he has a win with his best player, and then he gives his best player, Keon Coleman, a chance to win. All right, as a quarterback, it's incumbent on you to allow those guys to go make plays. So let's take a look at the film and what he does with Keon Coleman. And the first thing that I notice when I'm watching Florida State is that anytime Jordan Travis sees the one-on-one matchup with Keon Coleman, this time in the slot, he's going to give him a chance to win. Now, the way that you do this is that you throw the ball on time, and then you've got to throw a catchable 50-50 ball, which basically means let's shoot a free throw on top of the helmet of the wide receiver. So you see, he's not leading him down the field. He's not taking him inside toward the leverage. He's basically dropping the ball on the helmet of his best player, and then Coleman can go and do the rest. That's what I love about what I see from Jordan Travis. You move on to the Clemson game. Now it's overtime, biggest moment, right? You're trying to stay undefeated. What do you see? Motion, one-on-one with Keon Coleman. What are you going to do? Give him a catchable ball. Look at that. Just a little dime, like a little free throw up on top of his helmet. He's not trying to drive the ball to his back shoulder. He's not trying to lead him down the field. He gives him that nice little floater up high so that he can go win. At number 5, I've got Bo Nix from Oregon. Now, Bo right now is operating at a incredibly efficient clip. Remember, when he gets loose, he can create and he can threaten the defense. But when you watch him operate the offense, it's just so precise and so efficient. It's one of the big reasons why he's leading the country in completion percentage at 80%. Let's take a look at one example here against Texas Tech. Now, you can pick many examples, and I know this is a nondescript deal, but watch him locate the defense here pre-snap. He knows he's got a route structure, so he stops everything. He says, okay, let's change the play. Back, get over here to the short side. What are we doing now? We're flooding the short side with 4 free releases. What does that give you? Well, it gives this conflict to the outside defender. So now he's got a back and he's got to defend this wheel route. Bo Nix changed the play. He gets him to the perfect play, and then he throws the ball right on time, under 3 seconds. That's incredibly efficient and what I really love about Bo Nix. Here's another example. He sees the single safety. So what does he do? He knows that he can hold him over there to the right side of the offense. And now on time and on rhythm, operating efficiently, he can take the one-on-one go route. Watch as he hits his back step right here, and boom, the ball goes up right away. Right about 40, 45 yards down the field. Perfectly thrown ball, totally efficient, and it ends up being a touchdown. This Oregon team right now is they are so good offensively, one of the best in the country, but a large portion of that is that Bo Nix is operating and managing this offense so well. So he ends up on the Heisman contenders. All right, at number 4, in particular after that huge win, is Dillon Gabriel after the Red River win. And here's what I see when I watch Dillon Gabriel. This guy, if I'm Dillon Gabriel, I'm getting the ball out. Ball out. Watch how quickly this guy gets the ball out of his hands. You talk about operating the system correctly. Now, remember, he started a lot of games with Jeff Lebby. So here we go. It's fast tempo, pump, read it, ball out. Even to the check down, that's the 3rd guy in the progression, and he does it under 3 seconds. That's really tough to do. This guy is getting the ball out of his hands so quickly and attacking the defense. Here's another play. Fast tempo, little fake, hop, bam. My first read has got it, 2.2 seconds. Ball is out. Pretty accurately thrown as well. Here we go, a little fake. Now I'm out on the, got an open receiver, ball out. The guy never waits. He never holds on to the football. It's a big reason why late in that game against Texas, that last series, man, it was just more of the same. Ball out, ball out. Then he creates a little bit, and he finds Drake Stoops. He's playing so well. He's making quick decisions. He's operating really well. And that's a big reason why they're having success. And they're undefeated and right now sitting in that leader spot in the Big 12. All right, now let's get into the top three. And this is a guy that hasn't been in a lot of, I would say, top 5 or 4 or 3 lists. But when you watch him play, this is unquestionably one of the best players in the country. And that's Drake Maye from North Carolina. Drake Maye from North Carolina is the prototypical NFL quarterback. This guy is excellent. Now, I know a lot of people don't watch North Carolina, but when you watch North Carolina, this guy does things that you only see on Sundays. Namely, he understands when guys are open, even when they're not. Let me give you an example. Let's go back a year, actually, to a game that I called, the Oregon game in the Holiday Bowl. I want you to see what he sees pre-snap. Drake Maye is going to see a structure, and it's 2 high safeties, and you've got a walkout linebacker. Okay, so basically they're producing a little bit of a triangle. Now, he wants to attack the middle of the field, and I like it. I like that decision. But it's more about the timing and anticipation. As the defenders close, a lot of college quarterbacks think that that's covered. They're like, nope, I don't like that. Drake Maye sees him, and he's like, nope, he's open. Look at the ball. Up above the 3 defenders in the perfect spot, throwing his wide receiver open up high. Perfect leverage, perfect timing, perfect pass. Not many guys do that, okay? Like, I'm just telling you right now. Here's another example, same game. I want you to see his ability to manipulate the pocket, not run out of the pocket, but up in the pocket. He gets pressure. What does he do? Scoops the ball, he protects it, and he's moving up, eyes downfield. So he sees the clear out, and he sees this space where you can win. And then on rhythm, as he's moving up in the pocket, he finds the win, anticipates, and drops a dime. Look at that throw. That's insane. I'm losing my mind right now. That doesn't happen, guys. You don't understand how hard that is to do. What he just did right there. And this is last year. Remember, last week against Syracuse, he threw for like 1 billion yards. Maybe not 1 billion, but it was close. He does this all the time. Like, the guy is, if Caleb Williams wasn't in a college uniform right now, this guy would be so clearly the #1 pick in next year's draft because of examples like that. He's excellent. And if you just watch him, just appreciate what he does. And he's not even in my top 2. These guys must be pretty good, and they are. Michael Penix, Washington, you're at number 2, my friend. Michael Penix is a terrific passer of the football. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, there are guys that are tremendous throwers of the ball, and you've heard arm talent, and you've heard, can he make all the throws? And there are guys that are great throwers of the football. Penix is a great passer of the football. And the difference is that he understands ball placement, communicating with that ball placement, and more importantly, and this is the last one, leverage. This guy throws away from defensive leverage all the time. And it's really beautiful to watch. Let me give you an example from the Michigan State game earlier this year. So he's got a one-on-one in the slot, so he's going to run a slot fade. Now, he's got a free safety in the middle of the field. So what he understands is that he cannot bend his slot fade toward the middle safety. You can't do it. You cannot miss here. You've got to miss outside. If you're going to miss this ball, it has to be away from the defender. Where's this ball? Perfectly thrown away from the defender. Look, the outstretched arm of the defender, the safety's got no chance. The only person with a chance at that ball is his receiver. He understands leverage. A great passer of the football. That's what I see when I see Michael Penix. He's got a great core of wide receivers, and he allows them to win. You know, similar to Jordan Travis, like I was saying. He gets how to pass the ball with great leverage, with great touch, in order to create wins on the outside. That's why he's number 2. And I think we all know who number 1 is, right? I mean, it's Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams is going to be my number 1 player in my Heisman contenders list right now, because Caleb Williams is the best player in college football. And one of the things that I love, and there's a lot of things, but I think the thing that makes him so special is that he can elevate above the X's and O's. So it doesn't matter what's going on around him. And by the way, the offense doesn't even have to be playing well. It doesn't matter if the game is at home or on the road. You see, everybody else, there was an operational aspect of their greatness, but Caleb can take his game above the X's and O's, above the operational aspect of the offense, and be a difference maker like that. And this is what makes him so tough to defend. It happened against Colorado earlier this year, by the way. It happens all the time, but against Colorado. Colorado does everything right here, save for like maybe getting a better pass rush. Like there's nowhere to go with the football. He's holding it for 7 seconds, and all of a sudden, let me just levitate above the X's and O's. I get an open receiver. It doesn't matter his platform. He's like in an Air Jordan pose, and he throws a beautiful ball right down the seam that ends up into the end zone. So there the defense does everything right. The X's and O's, the schematics, everything is correct from the defense's standpoint. They drew it up. They did it correctly. They lined up correctly. They aligned. Their assignment is perfect. Everything is perfect. And then Caleb just goes above the X's and O's, throws a dime, and it's a touchdown. And there's nothing you can do about it. This is what makes him so special. That's why he's my number one in the Heisman race currently. Remember, 28 total touchdowns, 11 more than he had at this point last season when he won the award. I don't think that we should just say you can't win it twice. There's no reason to just be protecting this moniker of only Archie Griffin has won it twice. If the guy is good enough, then he needs to be voted for the Heisman Trophy. And at this point in the season, Caleb's the best player, the most outstanding player in the country. When we come back, a guy that very well could play himself onto this list in the back half of the season as their schedule picks up. The quarterback of the Michigan Wolverines joins me live. It's J.J. McCarthy coming up on Breaking the Huddle. Welcome back to the show, and we are now joined by Michigan quarterback J.J. McCarthy. So Gus, Jenny, and I are finally going to come to Ann Arbor this year. I know it's been a while, but we're very much looking forward to being there. You haven't played in a lot of fourth quarters this year. That being said, like, how good do you think this team really is?
I feel really good about it. And, hitting the point this year where it's like, we are a good football team, but, like all great empires, great teams, those that fall, the reason is because it's from within. So we're just, steady focusing on, getting better, improving each and every day, and, seeing how good we could really get.
Every team knows what to do, right? Everyone learns plays and concepts and defenses, and they know what to do. Some teams know how to do it really well, and then even fewer know why they're doing it. When I watch Michigan, you guys seem to know why you're doing everything that you do, whether it's philosophical or structurally in the schematics of the game. Mm-hmm. Is that something that your coaches really stress on, is the why?
Yes, sir. And that was actually one of our biggest focal points going into fall camp, and just the why behind everything. Coach Moore likes to call it, seeing the play from a balcony view and not just, thinking about who's getting the ball and where the ball's going, the why behind each and every play, and, the why behind our philosophy as an offense. And I feel like, our guys really bought into our four pillars, which is, maximum effort, precise execution, protecting the football. And what was the other one? Shoot, the other one, I think it was around, playing, I totally blanked, my bad. But, just sticking to the four pillars that our offense really has emphasized and focused on this year has been huge for our success.
Well, listen, I'm looking forward to getting up there. The stretch run for you guys is going to be difficult, just like it will be for all the teams in the Big Ten East. This is the best division in college football. You're going to have to face Indiana, obviously. You're not going to overlook them. But then you're going to have to face down the stretch in November Penn State and Ohio State. Is it tough to focus one game at a time, knowing those huge matchups you have down the stretch?
No, I wouldn't say so, because we're so in the present moment and focus on how we can be a championship team this practice and going into, Wednesday's practice. So I feel like, as the games progress on, it's just another stepping stone into our journey of becoming the best we could possibly be.
Well, hey, man, I appreciate your time. I'm looking forward to getting up there and seeing you guys play. You've been one of my favorite teams to watch on film. PJ Fleck stole it from me. I called you a boa constrictor earlier in the year, and then he drops that. So, PJ, appreciate you watching the show. JJ, I appreciate you joining the show. Go get that fourth pillar and make sure you have it next time we do this. And
yes,
then I'll see you on Saturday.
Yes, sir. I'll see you on Saturday. And if there's one thing I could just add to that reference of the boa constrictor, which I love, is that, when we're in that room with the opponent's got no weapon or anything like that, just turn the lights off, because you don't know where it's coming from. So that's all I can say. But I appreciate everything. I appreciate, your love for our team and your support.
You got it.
It means a lot.
You got it. JJ McCarthy, thanks for joining us, my man. When we
you,
come back, a little Klattback to finish things off. All right, welcome back to the show. Let's get out there. Let's see what everyone has to say about my opinions, because apparently a lot of people have a lot of things to say. Let's see. Craig says, it's hard to justify ranking Penn State above Ohio State. How do they jump a team who beat an undefeated team while sitting at home on a bye week? Well, Craig, very, very simply, Ohio State showed a lot of flaws, even in a win. They did not play very well at all. Maryland had one of the worst rushing defenses in the Big Ten, and yet Ohio State couldn't run the ball at all. I thought the offensive line play was alarming for Ohio State, so I put them where I thought they should be. Penn State has shown the ability to play great defense. They can run the ball. They've got a good quarterback. That's going to be an outstanding game next week in Columbus. So that's why I ranked them there. And it's like one spot. You shouldn't be all hurt because I ranked them one spot below. You're still in the top 10 and still in control of your old destiny. Let's move on. Oh, look at this, Boro. Boro says, all due respect, Mr. Joel, keep being a doubter. Boomer. Can I get a comma, please? And apparently not, because do we have men's Spanx under here? Are we trying to like slim it up? Are we trying to slim it up like that? Are we trying to slim it up right now with the, hey, Boro, nothing about your tweet makes sense, my friend. And by the way, not a doubter. OU's in the top 4, not a doubter. So keep flexing your way to the weekend, my friend, and enjoy those Oklahoma games. Boomer. That's going to do it for Breaking the Huddle. This show is brought to you by Dr. Pepper. It is the one fans deserve. Can't wait until next week, folks. It's going to be a great weekend of college football. Enjoy Saturday. I'm going to just go flexing my Spanx off the camera here. Here we go.